what has been the hardest lesson you've learned?
I would say the hardest lesson is probably taking those challenges that you're not sure you can do. But if you don't take any challenges, you're not pushing yourself, you're not growing. I think that was a hard lesson for me to learn. And thankfully, I learned it pretty early in the business.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Her Table, Her Rules. I am so grateful today to have Heather Locke here from Hammersmith Support. And she's going to, which is a web and marketing company. And she's going to talk to us today about her journey in entrepreneurship. And she has a very interesting sort of start. I did not know until we were I was looking at kind of background on you that you started your company when you had a brand new baby.
Yes, I did.
Right? And now
I had two babies at once.
That brand new baby is in high school now, but
yes.
That's another story for a different day. So yeah, so tell me about that. What the heck? You know, that is not a time when most people would think, hey, let's start a business, right? What led you to do that?
It was something I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And at the time I was working at an agency in Scottsdale. My drive was like 35 minutes each way. My quality of life was just very low. And I knew I could do something on my own. And it was just like no time like the present. I saved up like 3 months worth of my salary so I would have a cushion for the time when my daughter was first born and I was getting going. And I just took the plunge. I was able to keep like some freelance work from that agency for a while. Yeah. That helped with that transition. But it was interesting, challenging.
That is a couple of things. That's kind of how I started my business, not with a new baby, but I started my business with no clients, which I'm assuming you started other than a freelance, you know, being able to kind of have a little bit of a runway from freelance work. But that is a really, really tough way to start a business, right? With no clients. How did you even start that? Like what did you do?
Well, I had been, in the Valley for a good 10 years at that point. And I had, was part of like Add to Phoenix when I was younger. Yeah. I had done a lot of networking. I had a lot of contacts. And so I reached out to my network and just kind of let them know what I was doing. And I really just kind of organically got work in the beginning. And I guess at that time too, I really wasn't seeing like what it could become. I was really just kind of providing a job for myself. And then, as it kind of evolved and as my daughter got older or out of, into school, then I started to have a real vision for where I wanted to take it.
And when you first started, were you doing just primarily websites?
Yep. Just design and development of websites.
Yeah. And how long about did you do that before you sort of morphed and grew the business? I mean, you have two locations. You have one in Arizona and one in Tennessee. So tell me about kind of what your growth trajectory looked like.
I was getting a lot of repeat requests from clients. Yeah. And I had a client that would call me maybe once a week that was saying, we need another update on their site. We need another update on our site. And one day I'm on the phone with her and I just said, we have maintenance packages where we could just be on an auto support program with you where we do this every month. And I just made up a price on the phone and my maintenance service was born. And I had gotten to a point where I had about 7 of those contracts. And that's when I hired my first employee. And I remember I gave her like a handwritten list. These are the clients you're going to manage. And there were 7 on there. And now we manage 230 sites.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. I mean, that's huge growth. But I love to go back for a second. I love that. Because that's really like the heart of an entrepreneur, right? You're in a call and a sales offering is born, right?
What can I do?
What can I do? So, I'm sure, and you're unique in that all of your people are employees. You don't use an outsourced kind of model, really.
Well, we do and we don't. We have 6 full-time employees, and then we have a team that supports us based in the Philippines. And most of those employees have been with me for 10 years now.
That's amazing.
Yes, I've seen them build houses, have babies, get married, buy cars. I've been a reference for car loans there. I've given documents that show they're employed. It's been really one of the most satisfying parts of my business is growing my team there.
So let's talk about that for a second, because people do use overseas labor. And I often hear this from entrepreneurs who use overseas labor is that that is part of your extended team and that it's very rewarding. But how did you get over the fear? Especially because you're managing websites, right? So the whole security issue, I'm sure that gave you some pause.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I set things up especially in the beginning in very controlled environments. I gave test projects before I did any client work with them.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I, found the resumes. I would, interview them on Skype back in the day. Connections were terrible.
Yeah.
But you have to kiss a lot of frogs, and when you find a prince, it's very rewarding. But my first main employee, he's been with me, I think 12 years now, and we have both grown together. Yeah. And I feel very connected to their family, and it is super rewarding.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Sometimes I think when you have a virtual team like that, and especially when you have an overseas virtual team, you hear people say that it's hard to build culture with, either a fractional or a remote team. How, and it sounds like you have, I know you have amazing culture. So how did you do that?
This is actually something, if I ever write a book, this is what I'm going to write it about.
Yeah.
It took me a while to kind of figure it out. But first off, there's a lot of communication.
Yeah.
So we have huddles on our team every day.
Yeah.
And we have a US huddle and there's a Philippines huddle, and we read each other's huddle. And people can join either huddle. It's just the time is the only difference. Yeah. And then we have a few meetings a week, like various teams meet together, both sides of the team.
Yeah.
And we always share like something personal and something personal high and business high and anything going on in their lives. We spend the first 10 minutes sharing that between us all. Yeah. And then at least 3/4 of the year, we do what we call core value challenges, and they're on Skype. And Slack. And we just launched we always do a Christmas challenge.
Yeah.
Because they love Christmas.
Yeah.
They start celebrating Christmas in the Philippines September 1st.
Oh, really?
Yes. They call it
my husband would love that.
They call it early Christmas.
That's awesome.
So our Christmas core value challenge is like you get points for sharing things. So our challenge this time is you get like 10 points for sharing something that you do with AI.
Yeah.
And you get points when you share like a Christmas family tradition, pictures of your decorations. We see people's pets, your favorite Christmas song, those type of things. So there's a personal element to it and a business element to it.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. How did you learn that? Right? I mean, is that something you sort of stumbled into, or was that a very conscious decision on your part?
I worked with a scaling up coach for a while, and she helped me implement the meeting rhythms. Mm-hmm. So doing the huddles and thinking of the 2 huddles as being kind of like shift changes.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we think about it. Like this is the shift change huddle between this team and this team. And she really encouraged me to figure out how to really ingrain the core values of our company more. Yeah. And so she gave me examples kind of what other companies were doing, different challenges or things. And so I really was just brainstorming how to do it in a more virtual environment.
Yeah.
And it's been such a hit. So, the winners get prizes.
Yeah.
And so it becomes very competitive. And our participation is off the charts. People just do it.
That's amazing. That's really, really awesome. So you must have, as you're scaling a business, I mean, I have so many questions I'd love to ask you because you're really, in rarefied air as a woman business owner for what you've been able to build. You're using, overseas labor. You have you're multi-state. I mean, it's a lot, and your business isn't that old, right? So, what are you think the most significant challenges that you've faced as a business owner?
Well, I feel like I'm in a significant challenge right now, which is figuring out how to lead the business in the era of AI and how we can bring AI into our services.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's the difference of us surviving or not at this point. So I would say it's probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
I would say the other thing that I struggle with too is just capacity and being able to project like our work, because clients don't always stick to schedules, and sometimes we work on a kind of an annual model where you have most of our clients have either 24 or 48 hours for the year that they can use at any time. Which is great, and it works really well. But sometimes you have a lot of clients need things all at the same time.
Right.
And so that's really hard to predict. And then managing that flow is kind of a constant challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you said I'm not AI, because that was going to be the next question I asked you, which is, when you're leading a digital company, website, hosting, marketing driven AI, you'd have to ask you about AI, because that is your industry is probably the first and hardest hit. Mm-hmm. So, how are you kind of navigating that? What are the things that you're thinking about in order to be able to turn what could be a negative into a long-term positive?
Yeah. Well, I read a great book that I recommend to anyone called The AI-Driven Leader. That really helped me kind of start my thinking in the right direction. I think before that, I was thinking more in a panicky way. And that just helped me kind of see it in a new light. So I think I'm thinking within a year, and I'm even talking like this now, we're going to describe ourselves as an AI company.
Yeah.
And it's AI enabled, is kind of how I'm thinking of it.
Right.
And offering, first off, using it to improve our service to existing clients, in reporting, in just in our process, and be able to be more efficient for them by speeding up certain processes. But we are also starting to offer AI automations for clients.
Yeah. And
really enable their sites with some of these AI capabilities. And it's really unbelievable what you can do.
Yeah.
So this could be, routing contact forms based on what information is in the form, and giving a unique response that is using a custom prompt with one of the AI engines to generate a response to the user.
Yeah.
There's so many applications, but we are, already offering AI automations to our clients, and that's going to be a service line I'm going to really be thoughtfully growing over the next year.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because AI, that the whole automation is for every business is something that's going to be, I think, really important. And companies, if they're not an AI company specifically, it's going to be bumpy to roll out, automations. So, having a service that's directed specifically at helping them with automations, I think is really awesome. It's what every business owner who doesn't have the time, energy, or inclination. I mean, I really think what's fascinating to me about AI, well, so many things, but one of the things that's really interesting is I have seen so many women picking it up.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it sort of at the basis is prompt It's prompt driven, right? And women are good at prompting, right? They're really good at creating prompts. I mean, that's, and so I think that, I love when I talk to women business owners who are really like embracing AI. There's a lot of challenges with it, obviously, from a business standpoint. And especially, I think in certain industries, it is going to be scary because people are going to lose their jobs. But I think overall, if you can tap it for the efficiency and offer it as a service line, you're way ahead of the game.
That's my goal. I would literally spend all day building automations if I could at this point. I'm loving it.
That's so interesting. Did you expect that you would really you don't really have a choice, right?
No.
In your industry, you don't have a choice. You have to embrace it. But did you think you would like it as much as you're liking it, right? And want to create it for others? I mean, because that's a different level of right? That's,
I guess I am a little surprised about how much fun I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's really awesome. What are you looking at in terms of where you want to grow the business to? What is sort of, obviously we've talked about AI being part of the next iteration, but what else do you see for Hammersmith?
Yeah. So we have a couple of clients that, are larger businesses that have multiple sites where we've really helped them streamline their operations in terms of the websites and really make things standard across how they do business across all those sites.
Yeah.
And help them make those decisions, but also help them from a marketing perspective and SEO and those right decisions. So I definitely would like, more clients like that where we can bring a higher level of consulting and help them make decisions to manage multiple sites in an efficient way and using AI to do that as well.
Yeah.
And positioning their content for AI as well.
Yeah. What has been, we speak here really solely to women entrepreneurs. What has been your sort of challenge point where you've had to push yourself, relearn things, specifically, as a woman business owner?
Well, finances have always been really challenging.
Yeah.
And I do love this for AI because now I feel like I have that at my fingertips. So I can say, act like a fractional CFO.
Yeah.
What questions would you ask about this P&L?
Yeah.
Or what are the things that I should be learning from this? So I guess it's going back to AI, it's making me feel more knowledgeable because I'm more empowered and I can find the answers easier and I'm not as shy to ask questions to an AI bot as I would be to an actual CFO.
Yeah, I want to say that this is kind of like a common refrain that we talk about here, which is that in order to build a successful business, which you have to get comfortable with the numbers. And if that is not where you naturally hang, raising my hand here, you have to learn and push yourself on that, because as you grow to a business the size of yours, you have to have that discipline. And you probably are at that point where you need more of a CFO view, than somebody sort of in-house doing your reconciliation and a controller level person, right? You need that kind of strategic financial planning. And so I'm amazed. So you're using AI as your co-intelligence, as a CFO. That's fascinating, actually. Yeah.
I had a coach last year too, or 2 years ago now, that helped me. He gave me a template for a Google sheet where I could update each month leading and lagging indicators.
Yes.
And that has helped too. It takes me a while to do it each month to just really segment it and look at those numbers. But that helped me learn a great deal.
Yeah.
I'm less intimidated by it now than I have been in the past, but it's still an area where it's been challenging for me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't come natural.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, men and women, it doesn't come naturally. I mean, nobody grows up like, unless you're a business major, you don't even know what a P&L and a balance sheet look like,
Yes.
right? And I think that if I could teach anybody one thing, it would be start that discipline really early in your business. I have a coach, a financial coach, who always says, numbers are just, you have to give numbers a job. Don't be afraid of them. They just need to work for you. You have to give them a job. And so
that's a good perspective.
It is, right? And so you have to, demystify that and make that where you're never going to be the one, if I'm never going to be the one who spreadsheets out stuff, right? I mean, I do when I need to, but that's not going to be my first inclination how do I build a spreadsheet, for this to work, right? That's not going to be where I go, but you have to get comfortable with really understanding your numbers. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. What has been the hardest lesson you've learned?
I would say the hardest lesson is probably just not to get over my fear of, maybe there's a project that I feel like is pushing our capabilities, or I'm not sure we have the capacity or the knowledge. But I realize that's just fear talking most of the time.
Yeah.
And I guess that it could be imposter syndrome too.
Yeah.
But getting over that and just being like, I'm going to go for this and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And that's how you push your company, and that's how you grow. Taking those challenges that you're not sure you can do. But if you don't take any challenges, you're not pushing yourself, and you're not growing. So
yeah,
I think that was a hard lesson for me to learn. And thankfully I learned it pretty early in the business. I had a good opportunity to do a huge project for an international airline. I was literally just tap dancing my way through the proposal process, thinking I would never get it really.
Yeah.
And then we did. And we figured out how to deliver it. We delivered it. It was happy. It worked out great.
Yeah.
But that taught me a lot going through that situation.
Yeah. I think, you have a lot of business courage. I know that about you, that you really, you have that deep set kind of entrepreneurial thing, which you talked about at the beginning, which is, you make it up as you go, you get the business, and then you figure out how it can get, how you can operationalize it and get it done. And there's lessons in that operationalizing, right? Because you might hit it out of the ballpark, and then you might find a point of friction in your business. But if you did not push yourself right past that frontier, you wouldn't know that.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's, what makes you, I think that you have a unique view like that. I don't know that everybody operates from that point. I think there are people that, are going to stop rather than push through. So
it's been a journey to get to that point, but
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it has been a journey because, I think when you start a business and you really, were kind of at the forefront of doing what you were doing, and everything has evolved so quickly. I'm sure your head spins when you look at where you started, all of the service kind of models and all of these changes that have occurred from a digital standpoint are really, they're head spinning, truly.
Oh yeah. I mean, even in almost every process and everything we do, the amount of change in really 18 months.
Yeah. Right.
Is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we have to talk about this frequently. We have to challenge ourselves to improve our processes it changes every day. I mean, especially with SEO, it's changed more in 18 months than it has in 5 years.
Yeah. When you mentioned SEO before, I was going to bring that up because I think when you are in that industry, SEO is completely, I mean, AI has really changed the SEO game completely.
Right.
So I think that, I think you're it's a good thing you've learned all these lessons from the years previous, right? Because that puts you in a much better position to access these new technologies and to really ride kind of the wave, because the pace of change is enormous.
And you have to try out software all the time and just start subscriptions and give it a shot and see what it's doing that's different. You kind of have to keep experimenting all the time as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could talk to you all day about this because you really are amazing. And, the lessons that you've learned as an entrepreneur, I know will be super helpful to people that are sitting out in the audience. So tell viewers how they can access you if they'd like to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a free schedule a consultation on our website.
Awesome.
So it's hammersmithsupport.com. And then there's just a schedule a consultation button or get started where you can book a meeting on Calendly.
Awesome. All right.
We're also on Instagram and LinkedIn, of course.
Awesome. Well, Heather, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Her Table, Her Rules.